All right, what's up, and welcome to another episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast. Only this one's a little bit different. So, our plan for the Gift of Gaming podcast is at the end of every single month to do a little bit of a recap of all the news stories that we were interested in that happened throughout the month. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare for your January edition of the Gift of Gaming podcast news. Joining me today on the show to talk about the news is the OG crew, the guys from the original episodes. I got Mr. Xbox Game Pass himself, Luke Maycock. Luke, how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing great, Darren, thanks.
And also joining me, the OG crew, Chris. Chris, how you keeping, bro?
I'm doing all right, Darren. How are you?
I'm good. You guys been keeping up with the news?
Been crunching a bit more in the past couple days based on the topic today.
Doing some cramming?
Yeah.
Some cramming. Yeah.
Some cramming. And apart from the news, you guys been playing any different, weird, interesting games?
Been playing Apex Legends with some buddies.
Ooh,
Nice,
Chris is on the
very
Apex.
nice.
How's that been?
I am awful. But it was funny. In my first match, I fired one bullet and got one kill.
Hell yeah.
So, and I saved the scorecard where it was like all-time damage done, 12. Kills, 1.
Yes.
The ultimate Apex player.
Then you
should've retired.
you
exactly.
uninstall and you never play it again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
This guy's an assassin.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that one. And other than that, one of my favorite roguelikes, Skull the Hero Slayer, dropped a pretty substantial update, so I've been jumping back into that.
Nice. What about you, Luke?
It was not a whole lot different at the moment. We've been playing a bit of League. I always play a bit of League from time to time when I want to feel sad.
You dip into that toxic poison hellhole that is League of Legends, huh?
I log on to until someone calls my mom gay, and then I
Yeah.
then
You
I
log
turn
on
off.
until you feel sad, and then your job's done.
Then my job's done. No, I played a bit of today. I played a bit of Metal Hellsinger. Just for the lulls. Like I was talking to you guys just now, didn't have a lot going on in work today. Not super busy.
Not a busy day. Yeah.
So I tried. I streamed the Xbox to my phone and picked a random game just to play and try it with, and I picked Metal Hellsinger.
What'd you think? Because I played the demo for that.
Yeah, that was an interesting game to pick for streaming because it was actually a really cool experience. So the whole game is based around, it's like rhythm-based attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you attack on beat, you do more damage.
Yep.
Stuff like that. It was a cool idea for a game. But I don't know if it's because it detected I was playing on streaming at the start, but the whole intro to the game got me to sync up my audio and visual cues and program in the latency that I was getting with my game.
And that was a requirement.
That I don't know if that's required when you turn on the game normally, but when I started playing the game, it was like, okay, just listen to the audio cues and press the A button on beat. And I did that, and I was like, okay, your latency is like 250 milliseconds.
Happens in Crypt of the Necro Dancer as well.
Yeah.
Like when I first started playing that, I had to do the on beat, and I was just like, the whole time I was like, I really hope I'm not fucking this up.
Yeah,
So I don't
me
know.
too.
I don't know if it was just because it was the demo, but I downloaded the demo of
Mm-hmm.
Hellsinger.
Metal Hellsinger, yeah.
Metal Hellsinger. I played it, but it never asked me to sync anything with beats or anything like that.
It was cool. I was glad it did because I was playing
You got the right
streaming, and I had like mad latency. Latency that wouldn't, like, the latency was fine. It wouldn't have affected me for a normal game. It's just I happened to pick a rhythm-based game for the first game I streamed. So I did a bit of that today. That was fun. I think I'd probably prefer it.
It's an interesting game.
console.
The demo gives you, I think, like 3 songs, like 3 levels, or at least 3 stages of a level. I don't know how it works, but it was enjoyable. But I've played, I think, all I want to after the demo.
No, you got it. You got a taste of it.
I got a taste of it, and I was like, "This is fun," but I couldn't see myself playing the whole game of it. I think it was like, no, this was enough for me. This was enough for me. So we're also recording in the living room kitchen space, my apartment today. So I can already hear there's a bit of an echo. So if you're listening to this, there's a bit of an echo. I'm sorry, but there's literally nothing we can do about it. So you're just gonna have to roll with it. So I myself. And Luke, you've been playing a little bit of it too. We've dipped our toes into the world of Switch Sports.
Oh yeah.
And by Switch Sports, I mean Switch Golf, because we haven't played anything else other than the golf.
Just the golf.
And I and Chris will attest to this. I am awful. I'm just terrible at it.
You showed some potential at some points, and then there was others where it was just that you stroked out.
I got an eagle, and then I stroked out. So
I stroked out, just going in the water over and over again.
Your beginner look was nuts. Like, you did really well in your first attempt at playing it. I was the opposite. I did really poorly.
I think I'd prefer your thing where you get better as opposed to get worse.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. But yeah, by the most recent session you had, one hull would be atrocious, and then, like you said, the next one you'll get like an eagle. So
yeah, so it's a hell of a lot of fun. Even if you're bad at it, it's a hell of a
great.
lot of fun. It's quite addictive, actually. I think I might go down to Craig's tonight and play a couple more rounds of golf. So I guess the news. Doing a news episode is something I've always been keen to do. I listen to the gaming news a lot. A lot of times when we hear things that are being released or things that happen, we have to have conversations. And that's kind of where me wanting to start the podcast came from anyway. It was just us shooting the breeze about what was going on in games at the time. But we're not professionals, or are we journalists? So, don't expect expectations, listeners, manage your expectations. We're going to do our best here. So what we've done is we've kind of selected a couple of things that came out through January that we enjoy. And when we do the February episode and so on and so forth, it'll be, a couple of things that have been out in the news that we can get behind. Because we don't know everything about every game. And if we were to pick certain headlines, maybe we wouldn't be able to talk about it much at all. So we've taken a small collection. And on this episode of the Gift of Gaming News, it goes like this. We got Factorio increasing its price. Stadia is officially dead. We've got the good and the bad of Cyberpunk. 343 Industries steps back from Halo ? And Starfield is finally coming out this year. Those are kind of things that we're going to hit up. So, I guess, gentlemen, are you ready to crack into the news?
Let's do it.
We'll start off with a little story from Factorio, a little old game on Steam. I don't think it's anything else, Chris. Sure, it's not.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's on Switch now.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. I think you're right.
Well, if you're trying to buy it on Chris, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. There's my segue into the article. Okay, here we go. So this is from, this is coming from Kotaku by Zach Zweisen. So critically acclaimed base building hit Factorio is an odd duck. Since its 2016 Steam release, the game has never gone on sale.
Release. 2016 early release. Full release was 2020.
Well, you need to take this up with Zach, Chris. You need to take this
write
up with
him an
Zach.
email
Okay,
tonight.
do. Another developer behind Factorio is changing the price of its popular game, but it ain't getting a discount. Instead, the price is jumping up $5 next week. Now, it probably is already $5. I think this is out early, a little bit earlier in
26th.
January. 26th. Okay, so we're up to date. All right, we're up to date. The devs blamed inflation for the sudden price increase, and interestingly enough, the general reaction from the community has been mostly positive. So, based on that, I got a question for both you guys who want to hop in. Do you see inflation affecting other games, either old or new, based off of this story? Or is this kind of like a one of a kind, one and done type thing based on this group of developers? Chris?
Well, I mean, we've been facing inflation with video games for years. I mean, it wasn't too long ago when the gaming industry just decided that the AAA titles are now $10 more.
So here's the thing, but this is post-launch. So I guess that's
right.
the way to expect it. Because,
right.
Games have always gotten more expensive. But to release a game and then increase the price of a game post-launch based on inflation, do you think that's a thing that's entering the industry?
That's why I'm kind of conflicted, because I did think that was kind of weird. Just because I thought I'd never seen it before. But, like, the more I think about it, is who are we to say, like, what their game's worth, right? If they've been putting more effort into it and they feel they could charge more for it, and there's a lot of fans out there that think, they could charge the highest tier of gaming prices, and they'd still be satisfied because of the crazy amount of hours that people put into this game. So, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted, but at the same time, a good example is Minecraft. It is now like double the price as it was when it released its 1.0 version.
Really?
So it's been going up over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't unique to Factorio.
Well, actually, in fairness, with taking Minecraft as an example, we have to be fair to that, in that Minecraft has received crazy amounts of DLC and story buffs and updates throughout its lifespan.
True.
Has Factorio received the same kind of attention?
Not so much. Some of the latest updates I did see on the Steam page for Factorio, though, and the one that was kind of like a huge green flag, in my opinion, is they released a patch to open up a modding portal to make it easier for the community to mod their game, which I'm always a big fan of.
Yeah, that's huge.
A company really is cool with that.
But should a company charge you more to make their game more accessible?
Well, the people that are making those games already own the game.
That's true. So that's
yeah.
another point about it, is that anybody who it's been out since 2016. So the theory is anybody who wanted Factorio already has Factorio.
Yeah.
So
That was
And it was interesting, actually, when it released in 2016, it was actually $10 cheaper. Sorry, dollars, euros, 10 of your local currency cheaper.
So it's at
And then when it
$35 now. So you're saying it released at $20 when it first
20,
came out?
yep. And then when it went to full release, it went to 30, which I'm always a big fan of. If you want to do an early access that's an incomplete game, by all means, do it. But don't expect people to pay full price for an incomplete product. I think
that's one of the new stories later on. That's a thing we'll get into, you know. Not naming names, Cyberpunk. But Luke, I mean, like, we're in kind of, you know, we're living in a world where part of Europe's at war. There's a cost of living crisis, an energy crisis, inflation for a while has been kind of spiraling a little bit. Do you think that's a cool move by a gaming industry? Would you be okay considering that? So I guess my thing about this game is that it's not like recently out and they've been ramming DLC into it. This game is like 7 years old now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally don't have any problem with it at all. They're a very small operation. Like they started off the company with 4 people. Me and Chris were talking about a minute ago. There was 4 of them in the beginning. There's 31 on the team now. And yeah, look, they're continuing to provide quality of life. To harken back to what you were talking about earlier, like with the Minecraft stuff, I got the beta of Minecraft for I think it was a tenner at the time, and the way I saw that was, this is the beta, it's just got out of alpha. Like, I see a ton of promise in this, and so I'm going to pay this price when I know it's going to be way more expensive in the future. Similar to in 2016, Factorio came out. It had a $20 price point, and the people who believed in the project paid $20 or whatever it was, knowing that it was going to turn into this sensation and it would get more expensive over time. No, I really, like, ethically, from all kind of points of view, I don't really see a problem with it. It's an indie studio. They have to look after themselves. They have to set their own price points. Like, it's not done the same way AAA like titles set it. AAA prices are kind of pressed right up against the market value of games.
Yeah.
So consumers, if they tomorrow started making AAA games $80 or €80 or whatever each time, like, if one studio did that, consumers would revolt and they wouldn't buy it. They'd be like, for the base version of the game, $80, way too expensive. I'm not doing it. So there is kind of a dialogue with AAA titles between the consumer and between the company selling the software. But with indie games, it's kind of a more gray area. Like, the studios have to look after themselves. $20, $30 is a bit more expensive for the average indie game in general, but they see a ton of promise in it. Sales for Factoria have historically been fantastic. It's one of the best reviewed games on Steam. It's a quality little game. I think it was
97% overwhelmingly positive for all time.
Yeah.
Until recent, it dropped down to 89 because it got a bit of negative reviews because of the price increase, which, I mean, obviously some people are going to be angry about anything that changes.
Yeah.
So.
That's over 6 years. Like, it's a phenomenally successful game. And if the studio decide, like, on the other hand of things, like, I already own a copy of Factoria. Like, I've owned it for years.
You're set.
Yeah. So if the studio decides that this is something they need to do, and the reason they're going to give is inflation, power to them. Like, that's fine by me.
I kind of appreciate their approach where they're like, we're bumping up the price a bit because of inflation. We're a much bigger operation now, so clearly we have more people we have to pay.
Overheads are bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Salaries to fulfill.
And they didn't try to pull the wool over our eyes like many other AAA studios will release a new, like, quote unquote remastered version where, like, the textures are updated and then charge you the full, like, $60 for it, and it's the same game with barely any extra effort put into it. And that seems more criminal to me.
I think that's what I like about this whole story is this feels very honest. This feels very transparent.
They have been very transparent. Like, so I think the article also goes on to talk about how in the beginning they came out and said themselves very early on that this game won't go on sale. That they're like, you know, if you wanna buy the game, you buy it at the price that we're doing it. We're not here for the people who want to hop on a year later when it's 15% off. Like, you want our game, you want it for what it is. This is what it is. This is what it costs. And like that, in 7 years, they've never put it on sale. So,
you know what's funny about that is it's been in my wish list for years because I just put a lot of games on my wish list, and I'll get a notification like it's now on sale.
When they go on sale,
and that's when I realized there's like, shit, this game hasn't ever been on sale now.
Yeah.
I'm the asshole, and I'm gonna have to pay more for it.
Yeah, you waited too long, Chris.
Yeah.
Your window of opportunity
Yeah,
is
they
closed.
got me. They got me.
It's a great little game. It
So I
really
guess
is.
going on that, like, because you're talking about indie, they're small studios.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know, and like I said, this could be very much a one and done story based on their particular situation. Like, AAA studios probably have way more kind of backing, funding, whatever it might be, to be able to manage the inflation, things that happen with the cost of living crisis, etc. But if you were to get a AAA game, put it to you and say, hey, Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West has come out, in February, and I guess to put in perspective, a couple of years later, it comes, it's still out, but they've popped another tenner on top of it. So instead of 70 quid for Forbidden West, you're now paying 80 based on inflation.
Yeah.
Does that rub you the wrong way?
A little bit, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
just
It
based
does a bit.
on, because I did a kind of a deep dive into the Steam reviews, and I've always been a big advocate for the price of a game should be more tied towards not so much the quality or the effort. I shouldn't say the effort that went into it, because usually the good games always have a great amount of effort, but the not so much the graphical quality and all that, but the amount of time you get enjoying it. And going through all the Steam reviews, there were some people there with like 3,600 hours in Factorio.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, people go
this
hard.
guy has no problem paying like $100 for the game, because
Yeah.
he
And
definitely
that's-
made his money worth.
That Kotaku article as well also has a couple of like quotes from people commenting kind of like on online threads and stuff about it, and like some of the fans were actually wishing that they would bring out DLC that they have to pay for, because they're like, we love this game, we'll pay top level DLC prices for this stuff because we love it. So I guess they've built up a good enough relationship with their fans that I think they probably knew it was a safe bet, because like the article says, it's been mostly positive reactions to them doing this.
But the company has also dropped an easily accessible modding portal for the game, so that usually a telltale sign that they're done adding any content, and they're just like, you guys do
it
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
And it's good. It probably future-proofs them as well. Like, that's
Yep.
probably a price point
Yep.
that'll...
Look at Stardew Valley; it's still like crazily, like infinitely playable because of the amount of mods that are out there.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Factorio's price go up again for maybe another, like, 5 years or something. Like, I think
And
they're
by then,
gonna...
if people are still in the market to buy, because I mean, listen, I'm sure people get great enjoyment. I've seen the screenshots of the game. It doesn't look like it's my cup of tea whatsoever.
It doesn't look.
But if
great,
people are
but-
still interested in buying that another 5 years from now, like, more power to you guys, if there's still a market for it. But we'll go on to our second story of the day, one that's very close to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, in January 18th officially, we had the death of Google Stadia. A 20-second silence, please.
20 seconds.
Well, I thought a minute people might like
That's
stop
longer
tuning
than
in.
it was out for.
So this thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah.
No problem.
So this is coming from Google themselves. This is their announcement back in September 2022. And it's a statement by Phil Harrison, who was the general manager of Stadia at the time. And it goes, a few years ago, we launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia. And while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technological foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. So we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. The underlying technology platform that powers Stadia has been proven at scale and transcends gaming. We see clear opportunities to apply this technology across other parts of Google, like YouTube, Google Play, and our augmented reality efforts, as well as make it available to our industry partners, which aligns with where we see the future of gaming headed. We remain deeply committed to gaming, and we will continue to invest in new tools, technologies, and platforms that power the success of developers, industry partners, cloud customers, and creators. We're grateful to all the dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. That was me. I was a founder. I went in there. Terrible idea.
Founder that got it after the people who went to the store day one and bought it.
Yeah. You better believe it, baby. We will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store as well. Players will continue to have access to the games library and play through until January 18th, 2023, so they can complete final play sessions. Are you guys surprised that Stadia didn't make it?
I mean, Google has a bit of a track record with coming out with new, like, innovative ideas that
And then abandon them?
Exactly. And they almost seem like they were just proof of concepts from the beginning. They just wanted a kind of excuse to do some R&D in a different field. But
even though those projects end up having like their own CEOs that are really passionate about the vision, it's like they're playing with people's lives.
But there was issues with like some of the executives chosen for the Stadia right from the get-go. Like one guy came out on stage and he's like, listen, I'm gonna level with you guys. I've never played any video games. I have no interest. Good thing you're head of this. Well, not head of the company.
I don't know who she was head of, but she was head of a big gaming studio, and they brought her in as to lead the team in Google Stadia and write good games for Google Studios, because they were hoping to open up another studio, and I think she left before 2 years in the role, which was a sign, I guess, that they just weren't as committed to the idea of them making their own games. As a guy who played Stadia, like, the concept was amazing. It's just the lineup was awful. Like, I bought 3 games in my time with Stadia. Cyberpunk 2077, which is amazing while I could play it, because that was...
Oh, sorry. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. You buy games through the Stadia? I thought it was like a subscription service.
So there is a subscription service, but you can buy games and own them permanently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I bought 3.
Yeah. But there's a subscription.
Yeah. Okay. So I bought Cyberpunk 2077, and that was amazing because I was playing that on Stadia when people were playing it on PlayStation 4 and whatever, was it out on Xbox, and it was unplayable. It was bugging out and crashing people's systems. But I was there on Stadia being like, yo, I got the best tech and I'm going to play this game. It's so great. So that was cool to be able to experience that side of it. And then Baldur's Gate 3 was another game I bought. And that was like forever on Stadia. That was in its beta. You know what I mean? Like early access.
But that one was a mess across the board.
Well, it had its problems, but listen, if I had a PC that I could play it on, I'd be right there
But I'm pretty sure like the early access or the beta or whatever they called it was pretty messy on PC.
Well, there was definitely, it had bugs and stuff like that, but I loved it. Like, playing that game, seeing the potential, I was like, this game could be, like, as a D&D, Dungeons and Dragons player, lover of it, I was like, this is the perfect game for D&D fans, no doubt about it. So,
and perfect for something that's streamed.
Yeah,
because latency drops wouldn't really affect you.
No, in a game like that, and then I also had, and this is where my issue with the lineup begins, because there was those 2 games. I mean, I had it for a couple of years, and I only ever bought 3 games for it because Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate were the only 2 that interested me based on what I could get out of them on that platform. Baldur's Gate wasn't available anywhere else. Cyberpunk wasn't playable anywhere else. Then I bought Final Fantasy 15. 15, am I saying that right? Yeah, the one with the boys riding in the car.
Yeah.
15,
the road trip.
The road tripping game, yeah. And like that game, when I got it on Stadia, was already like 3 or 4 years old. I was just desperate to buy a game to play on Stadia, and I was like, well, this is the only thing that's there. Like, literally looking through the library, it had nothing.
You bought Final Fantasy 15 because something.
What was nice about it was the Royal Edition, and I have to say that experience of playing Final Fantasy 15 was amazing, because there I was playing it on the TV, and I was like, oh, I have a big stretch. I feel like lying on my bed with my laptop, and then I would just take the controller, open up my laptop, type in the Stadia number code thing on my controller, and it would just come up on my laptop, and I continue from where I was.
Wild.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's cool.
Crazy wild. But the problem was, it wasn't perfect. Like, there were still lag issues, still latency issues, which really affected the gameplay for something like Final Fantasy 15 and the battles and everything like that. It was painful sometimes. But playing it like that, and I even had a little attachment for the controller that I could stick my phone on to the top of it, and then playing games. But a mobile phone screen is way too small for me to play video games. I can't enjoy them at all. But the concept was amazing. And I think with that technology, this is another part that I love about the article, which I think is quite outstanding for Google to do. Not only did they refund me all my money, and by the way, I still have
the games you bought.
So the 3 games I bought, the only thing I didn't get refunded for was, I think I had, when I checked out my Google Play receipts, I think I'd paid for 3 months worth of the subscription service during the period of time that I had it. I think I kept going back in to check out games and to try and play new games. So they didn't refund me that. But I got the money back for the controller, like the Founders Edition controller. I got the money back for all 3 games, and I got the money back for a Chromecast Ultra, which I still have plugged into my TV right now. It's a free Chromecast Ultra.
You still have the controller too?
I still have the controller.
Is it Bluetooth or wireless?
So here's
the
thing.
Can you use it on?
Yeah. So you can use it on other games, but what's quite neat about it, and this is what I mean fair dues to Google, because they just could have closed it down and forgot about it, but they just brought out an update. So you can go onto the Stadia website, which is pretty much closing down, and say, hey, we want you to be able to use your Stadia controller wherever you want. So please plug it in and do this update to make it fully Bluetooth compatible.
You do that, right? You did that.
I'm about to. I still have it, so it's not closed yet. I still have time, so I haven't done it yet.
It wasn't a bad looking controller. I've never held one, but it looked like.
Well,
it
here,
would be
why don't you hold one, Chris?
Oh, okay.
I have it right here.
All right.
Chris about to get his hands on the Google Stadia cutting edge technology.
And it's the Founders Edition controller too.
It's
Feels
nice,
okay,
kinda.
Chris?
Yeah, that's pretty comfortable. It feels
It's a bit loose on the
probably
analog stick.
I like that D-pad. Would be great for fighting games. I think. Yeah.
So, like, the fact that they had all
very
this
good.
technology and they were like, we didn't do it. We didn't make it. So here's all your money back. But the concept's great. And the fact that they have said that they'll leave the tech out there for their industry, not rivals, but their industry competitors, whatever, to use as well going forward because they believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an outstanding move from such a big corporation that never really had to do any of that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I wonder how they're actually going to go about that is the only thing I'm thinking. Like, do Google hold on? Like, if Google have patented any technology around that, they should probably still hold on to the patents and just make them open.
No,
license.
I think I saw something like that in one of the articles I read, or no, it was probably like a vlog I was watching, but something about their partnerships because they were working with other companies, and those companies had to get their games working through the Stadia, and so like they had access to what was going on. So I think
It sounds like the sharing.
that tech is out there.
It sounds like the sharing. And it's because, one of the things that they showed, I remember when they announced Stadia, which is such a pity that it never worked. Like, that was another problem that I had with it because they had all these things that you could do on Stadia that they never released, that never came out. One of them was they showed the concept of someone on YouTube and watching a trailer for Assassin's Creed Odyssey on YouTube, and they could click into that, download the game immediately, and drop right into playing it.
Oh, YouTube would have the integrations
That'd
for
be sick.
anything Google.
So there was all these, the concept of it was fantastic. Everybody laughed at me for getting so involved with Stadia, and they've been proved correct because it's dead. But I fell in love with this idea of man, this is the new way to play games. It's just a pity that they never had any games to go with it. Their library was awful the entire time. There was nothing on that library the entire time I had Stadia that ever excited me. Like, I bought Final Fantasy 15, a game I already owned 4 years later. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I definitely think they should have came to the plate with a bit more, like something tucked under, either like an original IP or something already cocked and loaded, ready to go.
Because I think their big announcement was they had a couple of Assassin's Creed games. They had a good relationship or a good deal with Ubisoft at the time to bring out a couple.
Destiny was one of them, wasn't it?
Destiny was
2?
there on release. Yeah, Destiny 2 was there on release. But it was a game, unfortunately, it's a game that doesn't appeal to me, so I never got involved. But yeah, they had... I think their big selling point at the time was you can play Odyssey and Origins and stuff like that right on day one. But again, old games. Well, not Odyssey was quite new when Stadia was coming out, but nothing fancy. So yeah, I guess going on that, because Luke, you're Mr. Game Xbox Games Pass. You're looking at streaming yourself. You were streaming a game earlier on today.
Yeah.
Do you believe, based on the failure of Stadia, that the cloud technology, as it's intended by gaming developers, is there for the taking? Do you think that is that in the future for us?
Yeah, I think it has a place in gaming in the future. When I think it was probably a year or two ago when everyone was speculating about the next gen Xbox coming out, the Series X and the Series S, a big part of that vision, like the really exciting idea of how that would work, would be that it's the idea that anyone could get an Xbox One Series S, which is the cheaper version
model,
of the console, that it wouldn't need to have a massive hard drive. It wouldn't need to have a disk drive. And for that reason, it would be price point is close to 300 quid, 250, 300 quid. You could get one. You could get Game Pass Ultimate on day one. So you have the full library of games. Game Pass Ultimate includes Microsoft streaming service. So the kind of utopian vision that was pitched back then, which I was totally in love with, was you could pay 250 quid plus a €13 a month subscription, and from day one, if you had a good internet connection, that's always going to be required. You could just stream those games straight away to the console. No downloading, no waiting, just play a game straight away. Really low price point for a next gen gaming experience. I think that's beautiful, and it's something I'd love to see. I don't know where it's going to sit, because...
So my thing about that is, my question is it going to work? Because you said you were playing...
Metal Hellsinger,
and had to deal with latency, and we're 2023, and the streaming service on Xbox has existed for a little while now. That was a massive problem I had with Stadia. I think I maybe had a handful of clean playing sessions where I didn't suffer lag or major latency from the controller to my laptop or whatever else based on. And we live in Ireland, and we have amazing internet here.
Yeah.
Like amazing internet. And, when you talk about streaming, you're talking about if you're streaming it in 1080p, how much data is that? If you're in the States, that's going to cost you a fortune. Like, can cloud gaming exist as intended based on our current restrictions? Do you think we'll be able to break those restrictions and actually have cloud gaming?
Yeah, I do think so.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do think so, because it's like a lot of the throttling that happens through like ISPs and stuff like that is they're kind of lines that they draw themselves to fix markets. Like, bandwidth doesn't have to be as narrow as it is. Like, we could have way faster internet connections if, like, I'm going to sound like tinfoil hat here, but if a lot of the ISPs weren't in cahoots trying to keep the price as like so that they could stay as profitable as they can, then internet should be way faster than it is. That's always been the case. Like, gigabit should have happened like 10 years ago. That's always been the case. The infrastructure's been there for 10 years. Like, we've had the fiber optic cable stuff in Ireland for that long. So it's kind of the battlefronts are actually kind of happening with the ISPs and keeping the market competitive there. I think the technology is sound. I think it has a place. It's just, I think it's more a case of when.
Chris?
So thinking about this, I had my own tinfoil hat moment.
Oh, yeah.
And it has to do with both your last little topics you were touching on there. But I kind of think Google might have even been like muscled out a bit, because you're talking about like the lower price point for the hardware to like get in.
Yeah.
If streaming technology like through the Stadia actually became a hit and like it was realistic, that price point, that hardware, that like blocker for a lot of people would be entirely gone. There would be no more buying new consoles or upgrading your graphics card, because Google's handling all that for you.
All their services.
You would just have to pay for the subscription, and that would kind of screw over the other gaming companies.
So do you not think Google was welcome?
I don't think so. No, obviously, none of the other companies wanted to see a new player
enter the
game, right?
That's nobody's interest.
At the same time, like, nobody muscles out Google. Like, I just can't see that being a thing.
I could see the lines being drawn there, in that, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, like all the big players kind of talked to their first party guys, even their second party guys who they had these
something
deals
like
with,
that. Yeah,
and we're like, look, we don't like you getting into the Stadia thing. Where it doesn't make us happy. Like, maybe think twice before you go down that route, and that's why Google couldn't get the licenses, they couldn't get the developers, they couldn't get the games. I believe it.
Welcome to the Gift of Gaming Conspiracy Theories.
Yeah.
So for those of you who did,
we should do that week or
Conspiracy Corner.
the greatest gaming conspiracies. Yeah, I like that one. I'll note that one down for later. Okay, so that's. We'll move on from Stadia. It's a pity that it didn't get more of a shout. I think it was there just apart from the games. But yeah, so rest in peace, Stadia. Thanks for the controller and the Chromecast Ultra. Google, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet
controller. Yeah. So we'll move on to Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk's had an interesting month. It's gotten some good news and some bad news. I'll read you. There's got two articles here, one about the good news, one about the bad news, and we go from there. But the good news comes from Den of Geek, written by Aaron Greenbaum, and it states, Valve recently revealed the winners of the 2022 Steam Awards, which allowed fans to vote for and celebrate the cream of last year's gaming crop.
Love.
Yes. This year's winners included Elden Ring grabbing yet another Game of the Year award, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade winning Best Soundtrack. Absolutely right. Many gamers can agree on most of the nominees and winners, but one Steam Awards title has once again divided the internet, Cyberpunk 2077. That controversial 2020 game won the Labour of Love Award, which raises the important question of whether it's actually time to forgive CD Projekt Red for releasing that game in such a sorry state. For those unaware, the Labour of Love Award is described as follows. This game has been out for a while. The team is well past the debut of their creative baby, but being the good parents they are, the devs continue to nurture and support their creation. This game, to this day, is still getting new content after all these years. So that's the good news, but let's just mix this, because that touches on, Aaron touches on the controversial 2020 release, right? And they're still suffering from that, right? So as of this month, this comes from Games Hub from Leah J. Williams. A lawsuit filed against CD Projekt Red by disgruntled investors in 2022, spurned by the rocky launch of Cyberpunk 2077, has been settled with a significant payment of $1.85 million in damages. The class action lawsuit filed in Manhattan on behalf of company investors alleged CD Projekt Red knowingly released a virtually unplayable game, that's in quotes, riddled with bugs which forced several stores to delist the title and offer refunds to players. This was alleged to have damaged the reputation of the company and caused financial harm to investors who believed in CD Projekt Red's work. So, kind of
I'm
game...
sure some of those investors were responsible for the early push to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of talk that there was like the suits
Yeah.
pushing the game's release. But regardless of that, do you think a game with such a horrible release should be allowed to win something like the Labor of Love?
Absolutely. No Man's Sky did it a couple years ago.
But so
That was a train wreck release too.
but my question is, like, it's a train wreck release, but like that shouldn't, I mean, my view of that should be that shouldn't be okay. Like, games shouldn't be, developers shouldn't be allowed, I mean, they've had to pay $1.85 million for releasing a game that was, in quotes, virtually unplayable. And, you know, a couple of us here had a go, but my PS4 crashed. I had to turn to Stadia to play that game, you know?
In fairness, like, I never had an issue with it because I didn't buy it until sometime within the last year when it was 60% off on
Yep,
Steam.
same.
And it was completely playable. I think it was always playable actually on PC. I'm not really
So
sure.
it had its, like, even on Stadia, it had those moments where there was like bugs in the game, but never game breaking bugs, and it ran reasonably well. But yeah, still completely unfinished. Like, it had patches even on the PC for a long time. So I'm going to let you guys. Here's you discuss. Should games be allowed? Like, a Labor of Love is a pretty. Oh, don't we love CD Projekt Red for putting so much effort into this game? It's like, you wouldn't have had to do that if you released the game well. So do you think games like that, I'm going to let you guys discuss because I need to go take a tinkle, but do you think that games should be allowed, not say allowed to win these awards, do you think they should ever be in the conversation for awards like these when they've done their consumers, their fans, such a disservice in the first place?
Discuss. All right, Chris, you kick it off. I think we might be on the same page here. But
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone loves a good redemption arc, and like, it also shows that, like, they came forward. They released refunds on PlayStation, which I think
has
is
never been done before.
yeah.
They
They put in the effort to, like, try to fix their mistake, and then they continued to put work into the game. It is a shame that they released it in the state it was in, but part of me thinks that wasn't entirely their intention or their fault. But yeah, I think they still deserve a second chance.
I think so too. I think that when I hear that they won the Labor of Love award, to me that sounds like a really lovely nod to all the fucking developers and all the people, like, in the trenches of that game fighting to get
Oh
it
my
like
God,
as good as possible. Like, that can't be a pretty job.
You know, there was some intern putting in like 20-hour days. Like,
Stop.
fucking, I thought video game. I thought I was going to be a rock star.
I thought I was going to be at the top, and the reality is so different. And I know they're like their jobs and they're getting paid, you know, per their contract and all this kind of stuff. But it's lovely. It's like yourself. I bought it. I think I bought it when I just got back from Tokyo, which was kind of mid-November, so really not that long ago, like about 2 months ago now. And I have had the greatest time with it. It is a fantastic game. I've enjoyed it so much.
It's a fun game. It's a bit overwhelming on the content.
There's so much.
Yeah, so much. And I really wish I just want a universe like this where it's multiplayer, but we still keep not getting these multiplayer games. And this will come up again over the course of these news articles.
Yeah.
But and the other thing is, like, think of another game, recent release, complete train wreck. Do you think Game Freak is ever going to fucking touch that game again? They released like one patch and they're done with it. I know they have to be done with it.
Yeah.
I guess Game Freak, and not to say they've got I mean, we wreck them enough on our
Yeah,
Pokemon
I know, but it's recent news.
They get a get out of jail free card because that's what they've always done, in a sense, or what they've been doing for the last couple of years, which again I don't agree with at all. But that being said, I think there's a certain expectation about Pokemon, and there's a certain expectation about something like Cyberpunk 2077, which was out there in the ether for years before its release, and there was so much hype and so many promises made about it that Game Freak weren't making any promises about Scarlet and Violet. You know, I think they knew what they had, but it's that thing where, like, to put it in perspective, came out on PS4 as a rule, if you buy a game and you click the download button, you can never return that digitally. I mean, you know, on their store.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can't do it, right? So there's you know, once you hit the download button, that's it. No receipt. You know, there's no after so many days. They actually had to backpedal that entire service in order to give people their money back for Cyberpunk. Like, I had to go and email them and get the whole refund done and everything like that. like, and then PlayStation
mental. Like Steam. If you play a game for under like 2 hours,
Yeah.
You can
auto
return it.
refund. You can beat the entire game in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Which is
try that.
you know, and I
Just don't do that because dick move.
but that too. But also in situations like that, I think, you know, if something's broken or not fixed. But again, that's what I mean. PlayStation, I think, have that policy because the general rule is no developer should be releasing a game that is broken.
Well,
you know?
it also does come down a little bit to, so whenever I think about this whole situation, my mind just reels because I want to know, and like so many people, I want to know whose fault this was. Like,
so the rumor mill when it was happening, when it first came in, it was so awful, was that because of when it was where it was being released in the year, it was really important for the big wigs in the suits to say you need to release it now so it falls under this financial year so we look great and it's good for the investors, good for the stock or whatever else. So it was pushed. I think there was like semi-leaks from employees that said this was beyond us. We were forced to throw it out at this date, and that's how it backfired.
but
So
I don't think they would have, like, they could have pushed, the studio could have resisted. That's one side of it. I think as well,
I don't think like a publicly traded company can resist that much against investors, right?
I don't know if
I guess, I mean, that's a question. If
I don't
anybody
think
out there
they're
knows
publicly-
that, like, email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com
There's
and
the
tell us,
plug.
can you? Always the plug, Chris. Always the plug.
I don't think they're publicly traded or anything. I just think they're a private company that have like stakeholders, and the stakeholders will want, you know, a return on their investment. That's all understandable, but they're only going to want a reasonable return on their investment. They're not going to want them to drop the ball. I have to imagine that there was someone inside CD Projekt Red that wasn't strong enough in setting the boundaries and wasn't clear enough in communicating exactly where the game was at. I think there had to have been a fatal flaw within the company for that to ever happen. I just and it's not like I don't want to find out whose fault it was so I can light my torch and pitchfork and like go after them.
fellas.
I'm just so curious because it was such a flub, and like I was saying to Chris a second ago, it's such a great game now. Like, it's so lovely to play. I enjoy it so much. It's one
So
of my,
you guys would be both on the same page that in the case where a game is released, I mean, essentially broken,
Mhm.
you believe that like that you said, Chris, like the redemption.
Yep.
You think
absolutely.
any game should be in line to be like, yo, we can give you the labor of love.
And I think there should be like systems in place to look after consumers if they want their money back. Like, I think that's a bit of a silly policy for PlayStation, Sony to have.
Well, no, but see, this is where I would. I mean, listen, I would prefer from a consumer that I could return a game in case I bought a game and I didn't like it. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to be able to do that, but I think what PlayStation's understanding is like, we'll give you a refund for a broken game, but they don't exist, so we're not even going to bother putting that in the policy because that shouldn't happen. Like, that shouldn't be a question that PlayStation should ever have to answer for. But they were flooded with demands to get this game refunded, so they had to like completely change tack. Like, you know, they put out like, you know, on forums, they put out onto, you know, online their announcements to say this is how you get in contact with us. This is open for the next 2 weeks. Return it, and then they delisted Cyberpunk from their store for months. And like, because it's essentially CD Projekt Red made PlayStation have to do all this work because they brought out a completely unfinished game.
Well, that's on PlayStation. Like, you shouldn't remove the option of refunds there, and it even comes down to like not even a broken game. Like, the game doesn't have to be broken. All it has to do is have some sort of false advertising. Like, this is the kind of like, you want to play this side scroller and you download it and it's actually like a 3D platformer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, obviously that's an extreme case and you catch that just by watching a video. But like, promises like this are made often by game companies and they don't deliver on them. And I think those definitely qualify for a refund because that was literally false advertising. Perfect example is No Man's Sky again.
Yeah.
They promised a lot of stuff and they didn't cash in on it initially.
Yeah.
I think Callisto Protocol is going through that now because they promised a lot of stuff that the game didn't really pan out to be.
Again, it's just like, it's another alarm bell for like, so Sony have this system in place clearly because they believe that their vetting system is so bulletproof that a broken game can't end up on their store, but it did. And that's like another alarm bell for me that like, what went wrong here? Like, who was communicating poorly? Like, who was I'm just so curious. It's just curiosity now. Darren,
and the Switch is just as bad. You can't get anything done through Nintendo either. I've bought broken games on the Switch store from like indie developers. You make it to like this one boss, just complete crash.
And you can't go any further and there's no recourse. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. We kind of, mine and Chris's conclusion was that it should be open to the Labour of Love Award. Like, the way I framed it was, it felt like a lovely nod to like their reputation was destroyed by this game pretty much. All the people still working at CD Projekt Red still have a job they have to go to every day. They're pouring all of this effort into making the game, and it's a fantastic game, and they're putting so much effort into making it that. I think that's a lovely nod to them. But would you disagree?
See, it's because I was a sucker and bought it on release and didn't wait for reviews or anything like that. I was burnt by this, like burnt badly by this. And it's one of those things whereby, and CD Projekt Red, I had, it's the Witcher games. Do you know what I mean? I have a massive love for CD Projekt Red, but it's such a breach of trust because they're releasing all these things, and like they released like cinematics and even like like demos, whatever else that didn't exist in the game. Do you know what I mean? It was pure false advertisement, and at some point, you're as big as you are. You made a great game, The Witcher, but let's say, but you're as big as you are because there's people who are backing you the whole way. The consumers, the fans are backing you the whole way. And it's such a stab in the back. And it's not that it was cheap. Like Cyberpunk was 60, 70 quid. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm very privileged in that I can go off and buy a game if I want one fairly handy. I don't have to think too much about it. I'm very privileged like that. But there's a lot of people who aren't like that. And they might have to, scrimp and save and put together. And they buy this game being told everything by CD Projekt Red about what it's going to be, and it's completely false. And to me, as a consumer, I vehemently disagree with that being allowed. Any studio even daring to take that point. It's like, if you got to delay the game, you delay the game. That's on you. That's not on us. If you've had issues with development, fine. I'm not going to complain about that. Like, this stuff happens. Don't dare sell me something that is broken. Like, it's broken. It doesn't work. I paid a lot of money for that.
I want to tie this back into the first topic we covered.
Factorio.
Yeah. So what if they knew the game was broken? They still wanted to get it out. They just came clean. They said, hey, guys, this is a super broken game. So you know what? It's only going to cost you $30. And then over the course of time, they eventually fixed it, and it was a perfectly working game, everything they promised. And they're like, guess what, guys? Now it's 70 again.
Yeah. And absolutely right. So one of the things I actually had written, right? One of the things I had written down here was like, for me, I was like, if you had to release that as an alpha or beta and said to me, this is early access or whatever else, I would have been fine. You're working through bugs. This is why the game is buggy. So yeah, I think if they had sold it like you're saying there and said this is how it is, I'd be totally okay. Wouldn't hurt me at all because they're being completely transparent. But
what if they doubled the price once they fixed?
Because now it's the game that it's meant to be or whatever else, and fine, no problems with that whatsoever. But it's the fact that they legitimately lied to the consumer and said pay 70 quid for this.
So that solution works for everyone except the investors. Like, the investors signed up for a AAA $70 game to come out, make loads of money.
And if they wanted some sort of return at that very moment, like, look how this approach worked for them.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Exactly. So yeah,
and I guess that's where the difference between, let's say, the developers or the people like leading the developers team who might be in contact with the investors or the board or the suits or whatever. There's probably a massive disconnect in, like, they probably don't understand that the game is that broken when they're making these demands. So there's whole lots, and it's not that I'm angry at any individual at CD Projekt Red, nothing like that. It's just that it was so inherently wrong that I don't think they're in line to be able to win something like a labor of love. I mean, in its definition, this game has been out for a while. The team is well past the debut of their creative baby, but being the good parents they are, the devs continue to nurture and support their creation. They threw that baby into a kitchen fire at the very beginning. Like, there's no love there at the beginning. All that work that you put into, you just threw it away right from day one, and that's where I've got it.
Child.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were dealing with at the beginning. It was such a mess. So for me, I would say a hard no. I'm not saying it shouldn't be out there for awards, but I can see, like they said, the people were quite disappointed that the Labor of Love award was given to something like Cyberpunk, because if that was a true labor of love, it never would have come out the way it did.
I've got a quick follow-up question to this, because it's been in recent news with the Game Awards happening in December. They had the trailer for the new DLC coming out soonish. I'm not actually sure.
This year, and it has one of the highest price points of DLC.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. So the way I approach all these AAA games is I never buy them day one. Like, just never, because they never work. Even the ones that do work, they never
Steam
work
too
day
good.
one. Yeah.
Gable saved me. Saved me a few bucks at
least. You literally just wait until a Steam sale, wait until any kind of sale for a AAA game. That is the only way I buy AAA games anymore.
Saying that there's a difference between a AAA game coming out and just being a bad game, and then a AAA game coming out and it being broken.
They're all broken. They're all broken on day one. I haven't played a working AAA game on day one in 10 years.
Or the servers don't work. Or the servers can't get online.
There's a fatal flaw that they haven't tested across a mass market, because that's impossible. and so they never work. Like it's.
Well,
I don't believe in
I
it.
played God of War. They released no issues. Played
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West. They won no issues.
That's grand. I've just been bitten so many times that I won't do it anymore, and it's a safe strategy. And I
have my exceptions, like From Software. Just
yeah, okay, yeah. There are.
I'll buy any crap they throw down.
Yeah,
But I mean,
because-
what I mean to say is there's evidence here that you can actually release a AAA game day one and it works fine. And don't get me wrong, they'll put updates throughout its life cycle. I have no issue with that. But I can pick up Horizon Forbidden West. You know, I took a day off work, bought it, put it into my PlayStation, played it. No crashes, no problems, no bugs. It was amazing. It can be done, so it should
But also
always
no
be
new
done.
engine, no, like it was all built the same way, right? It was
Yeah,
the foundation was.
Doesn't matter how
there.
it's built. Like what I mean to say is, it can be done, and if you're taking the thing to build on a new engine, it's up to you as a responsible developer or studio to say we can only.
Well,
or
I mean,
should
I'm not
only release
arguing.
this.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
people should be releasing.
I don't think that can be like so. I'll phrase it a little differently. I haven't played a AAA game in the last 10 years that hasn't had like a 30 gig update on day one, because maybe I don't find the way that it's broken, but it is broken in some way and it's fucked over someone else, and I just don't want to ever be that person. So I piece out of that kind of stuff. The question that I was getting to here was so you have Cyberpunk, you got it a couple of months ago. You had it on Stadia, so you don't have
I have
a
on the
copy.
PS5 now. When I realized
Right.
that Stadia was dying, I got it for the
God,
PS5. I got the money back from Google, and I used it to buy on a
So
reasonable
fucking
console that
very
will
nice.
have a life cycle. Yeah.
So when that DLC comes out, will any of you buy it day one?
I haven't even finished the base game, and
Yeah.
no, I'll wait for a sale.
Yeah.
And I only bought Cyberpunk because I just built that new PC back in was it February, March, or something?
Oh, yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Yeah. So I used it as a benchmarker. It was
yeah.
Cyberpunk 60% off. I was like,
It's a new
great.
Crisis.
Play it on Ultra
Yeah.
at like 120 FPS.
See, it depends for me. I mean, because I was following the hype leading up to Cyberpunk for the 3 or 4 years prior to it. Do you know what I mean? And I was very excited to actually see it come to fruition, which is why I purchased it. Which is why I bought it on Stadia, even though I was burnt on the PS4, because I knew that there was a way to make it run, which was on PCs or through the streaming service. So I got it, and I'll play it now on the PS5. I'm like kind of playing it bit by bit. And if it grabs me the way I always hoped it would have, I'll consider buying the DLC. But to date, having been playing it, and I haven't finished it, like I'd say I probably put maybe 25, 30 hours into that game. It hasn't grabbed me the way I hoped it would. If it does, I consider buying the DLC because everything's working fine now. See, I've no problem with playing the games now that it's working. I'll only play now that it is working. But this idea that it can be given a labor of love and you've done so well, it's like you wouldn't have had to if you just gave us the game as per it was sold to, as per it was advertised to us. That's where I'd always kind of... So the DLCs all depends whether or not I enjoy the game, which right now is kind of 50-50, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get the DLC, but I'm like every other AAA kind of thing. I'm not getting it day one.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to. I can't. Like I'd get so excited it would come out day one. There'll be something wrong with it. Like there'll be even now that they've like hopefully learned their lesson from all of this, it will come out day one and there's going to be something
It would
wrong.
be such a...
You just
such a
feel like
blunder
such
if
an
that
idiot. It's like
happens. Yeah.
fool me once, you know. And
The only time I have ever thought
Fool me
about
can't be fooled
breaking a
again.
disc for a game was I was living in New Zealand and massive fan of the Mass Effect series. And Mass Effect Andromeda came out, and I was like, "Here we go, right back on that Mass Effect train." And I put the disc into my PlayStation. Down, I sat there, so excited. I was like, "Yeah, here we go. This is going to be so good." And it was awful. And it's the only game I've ever considered ejecting the disc and snapping it over my knee. I didn't because I wanted my money back, but that's how close I was
you
to
were
like.
so angry.
It's just that, you know, in terms of what came before. Do you know what I mean? There's a recipe for a great game, and it's just funny how sometimes they can take directions that just go so, you know.
Halo?
Well, thanks for the segue, Chris, because here we go. The next story is about Halo. So this one is, and we had a funny one about this. This is why I'm struggling to set up the social media for the Gift of Game podcast, because I have no idea how to navigate that minefield. Proof of the point was we were having a conversation last
yeah,
night. The three
you're
of us,
basing these articles off of parody accounts.
parody accounts. I was reading parody accounts to get my news, so I have no idea how to navigate it. So I'll go for a report that came out. This came out on the 22nd, so it's since been, I wouldn't say debunked. I don't think it's been fully debunked, but this comes from GameSpot by Darren Bontus, and it says, a new report has claimed that longtime Halo developer 343 Industries is being taken off of active development.
He probably
of the
read the
franchise.
same parody Twitter you did. He's like, I'm writing an article. I'm the first guy.
This guy should know better than me, Chris. I have no idea how any of that works. And it says that people taking off active development of the franchise and that new games in the series will be created by third-party studios. According to Halo leaker, this guy's name was great, by the way. According to Halo leaker Bathrobe Spartan, who has a solid track record leaking Halo inside information, and his leak was translated by Metro. I think he originally came out in French. Microsoft's mass layoffs have hit 343 Industries hard and will see up to a third of its workforce laid off.
I mean, that's all true.
Yeah, that's all true so far. So I guess the thought process was like, well, what are they going to do with Halo if they're being hit so hard? So 343 Industries will then take on a parental role for Halo, overseeing new games and content while working on maintaining the games engine. This isn't entirely new territory for 343 Industries, as it has relied on outside help to develop Halo Infinite's multiplayer content for Season 2. But Bathrobe Spartan claims that the planned story-based DLC has been scrapped due to being considered not cost-effective under 343's stewardship. A follow-up to Halo Infinite is also expected to enter pre-production alongside spin-off titles, with these games reportedly being franchised out to other studios and being developed on more modest budgets. While Halo Infinite had a strong launch, recent months have seen 343 Industries criticized for delayed content rollouts, tedious multiplayer progression, and numerous bugs. So what happened after this was, Chris, you put me onto a legitimate tweet, which I thought was from the parody account, but the legitimate tweet was from 343 Industries, which stated that, look, they're still in it. Don't ignore the rumors, we're still in it. But what was interesting about that tweet was they never specified if they're 100% still in it. Like there was no clarity. They never came out and said we are 100% behind Halo. It was like, no, we still have a relationship, was kind of how the tweet went. So it kind of leaves it if
I could just jump in on that, where it left a bit of room. They said they're still 100% in it, and they're 100% behind Halo. 343 are. Mm-hmm. What they kind of left wiggle room with was, is there another developer getting in bed with us to get the next title over the line? So it's going to be 343
in some capacity, for sure.
In some capacity, and the big question at the moment in the rumor mill is who's going to help them, because they just had a third of their staff.
I think the other question is so we're basing this off the official Halo Twitter.
Yeah.
But who has ownership over the Halo Twitter? Is it Microsoft or is it 343?
343.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
from my cursory research last night, 343.
Yeah, like I said, we're not professionals, guys. We're not journalists. This is very vague stuff we're doing. If we're
wrong, if we're professional journalists, we'd be covering the mass layoffs and not staying in our lane within video games. Because I can't even imagine
which is also worth pointing out, horrible stuff that there is mass layoffs at Microsoft. And that's always bad news. But Luke, my question to you, as the Halo player.
Mm-hmm.
Because the interesting thing about that report was lots of people before 343 Industries came out and corrected the rumor and said that we're still involved and we're still doing this. There was kind of like a cheering from the fan base almost, because they kind of wanted someone else maybe to take it forward because of this.
I get that. I mean, I was a big Halo fan in the Bungie days.
So my question to both of you then. Do you, either of you, believe that a different team coming in to do this would be better for Halo? Has 343 Industries run its course with Halo as best it can? I did a quick look at the Metacritic scores of Halo's gone by, and it has been a slow decrease. Now, I say slow decrease, but Halo Infinite's got an 83 or something like that on Metacritic. It's not a bad score.
It was received
well. Considering that Halo 1 or Halo 2 was 97, it's been a slow decline on a Metacritic at least. So, Luke, do you think that there's still a place for Halo under 343 Industries, or do you think that it's about someone else should come in and maybe try a fresh new look at Halo?
It depends on how they go about it, I guess, would be my answer. So 343, the cool thing about 343 being behind the Halo series is that's all they do, and there are a lot of heads at that studio who are former Bungie, and there are a lot of people at that studio who seem to really care about the game, and that's always going to be important. But in terms of creative vision in a video game, it hasn't always felt like, Chris, you will as well have your own idea of what Halo is to you and what it felt like when you played it as a kid or whatever.
Master Chief versus the Covenant.
Yeah, that's the kind of there's a feel to what Halo was like, and you kind of felt like playing Halo 5. I think Halo 4 was the first one 343 did.
Yeah, and that's when they introduced the Prometheans.
The Prometheans,
I think that's when I
robot
kind of tucked out
and
and I was
people, and that was the Halo 4. I enjoyed Halo 4. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't a perfect story, but they hit the story beats well. Halo 5 was just kind of a bit of a disaster for me. I didn't love it. Hated that there was no couch co-op. That was such a sad moment for me.
Yeah.
And
such a strange decision to make.
We have had this argument before, but it's definitely Halo 5 when they introduced their not introduced,
De-introduced.
De-introduced
Couch co-op. Yeah, Halo 5.
Okay, so I definitely have played Halo 5 because I remember sitting in my buddy's basement with on the projector, and all of us are just like,
This
"Okay,
isn't
is this
Halo."
not happening then?"
Yeah.
The one where Nathan Fillion came back and he was a Spartan now instead of an
Oh, we
ODST.
didn't play the campaign. We just sat down for. I guess we would have had to. I think we gave up and started playing Halo 4 or 3 or something.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
we wanted
exactly
to
what
play
I did too. Just turn it
co-op.
off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, based on that, then, do you think it's time for someone else to come in and take it? Because this is the interesting thing, was we talked about this in when we did the big 3 of 2023. We talked about how, Halo has such, that's Xbox as I see it. As an outside viewer, maybe as a player of Xbox games, you might think that there's a better mascot. But for me, Master Chief's the mascot of Xbox. That was the game. And it's kind of just had a slow eking out over time, just slipping out of the club at night, doing an Irish goodbye. Is there a place, can it get better? Does it look like it could improve at all?
Not to poo-poo the efforts of 343 over the years, because I think in some regards they did a fantastic job. They proved that a little bit with some of the stuff they did with Halo Infinite. Very cool.
Free to play, which is a great idea. It was almost necessary in order to compete with everything else that's out
meet
there.
the market. The multiplayer being free to play, and the multiplayer was strong. I still stand by that. I didn't love the campaign in Halo Infinite, but the multiplayer slapped. It was so much fun.
Battle Pass was pretty much the only shaky thing.
Yeah, pretty much. So 343, they can do it. They're competent enough to do it, but they don't often hit it out of the park. I think if a new developer came in, it was a new creative thrust that they had behind it, and they were able to put their own splash on the Halo series. I think it could be a really welcome change.
Yeah.
And that was like, again,
and that's not, I mean, as you said, that's not a disservice to 343.
Yeah.
What they've done is great, but there comes a time, it's like, when we look at Disney giving the license to EA to do Star Wars games, there comes a time and place where you kind of say, okay, this is kind of getting stale.
Yeah.
And we need a fresh.
It's mad because like they're always striving for a blockbuster hit. Like they're striving to be this like huge unit shipping thing all the time. And that's a really fucking tough goal to hit.
Yeah.
It's a really high standard to hold them to. And like you said, like Halo Infinite is reviewed well. Like I may not have loved the campaign, but a lot of people did. And they showed those creative splashes. Like they took it in a very different direction.
And like this is 87 on Metacritic or 83, whatever it is not a bad score.
It was an open world Halo game. It's like on paper, it was kind of the Halo that I always wanted for next gen consoles, but just in execution, it wasn't that for me.
Yeah.
I think get someone else in there and keep the people at 343 at the helm who really care about the vision. If they can collaborate, and collaborate is going to be a really big word there.
The head of the helm, he took off, didn't he?
I think. Well, I don't know if that was a restructuring because of the layoffs, but he left to go to Xbox. I don't know if I have it here.
That was one of the.
It was like a step down. I think
it was a step down, or he moved to like a different section of Microsoft or Xbox. So I don't know if that was like an active decision made by the individual, or if that was a forced restructuring given the layoffs. So I guess that's one thing. I mean, hey, if you want to do research about it, just make sure you're not hitting up parody Twitter accounts. You might get the real information.
Can I just like mention one of those tweets really quickly?
Absolutely.
I started looking at that parody Twitter account, and it's really good. There was a tweet that they threw up the other day. Hold on. It says, "Today at 343, we've made the difficult decision to restructure parts of our internal team, which unfortunately comes alongside the news of employee layoffs. If you guys would have just bought the damn $20 armor, we wouldn't be here now, would we?" That's like the tone of the whole Twitter. It's fantastic.
Just make sure if you're doing your research, unlike me, make sure you're reading the titles of these tweeters.
At Halo Ticket 2. That's a parody account.
Okay, so we're bordering on time here, so I'm going to fly through the last story, which is Starfield. So we'll do this like a quick one. I've only got like a couple of easy questions about this one. So Starfield, this comes from PC Games by Paul Kelly, just to give you a little overview. Originally, Starfield was supposed to release on November 11, 2022, but in May 2022, Bethesda announced that the space game is now delayed into 2023. The release date was reconfirmed by the official Starfield support page, stating the open world game arrives exclusively on Xbox and PC in the first half of 2023. According to Bethesda, the release date for Starfield will be announced very soon, with a special game event also on the horizon. Starfield Game Pass is also a thing. It will be coming to PC Game Pass as well as Xbox Game Pass for console players, which means you get instant access to the open world game from day one. Luke, you'll enjoy that. Oh, yeah. Game Pass subscriptions don't need pre-order, and we imagine that they will be able to preload Starfield and then run up to release at the very least.
Pre-install, baby.
So, my first question, I mean, was it last year that Xbox or Microsoft went in and bought these guys for what was $7 billion.
I think it might have been 2 years ago. I think
2
it might
years
have been
ago.
2021.
They bought Bethesda for $7 billion, and I guess it was for maybe moments like these to get these exclusive IPs. Do you think Starfield is going to reignite Xbox's, arrival on the exclusive platform, or do you think that's not even what they're bothering to do anymore? Chris?
I don't know. I haven't even really thought of that approach. I don't think that's really their goal with this one. Not much to say on that.
Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Luke?
That's what Microsoft's going to want for it. If I had to guess, I'd say no.
Especially since they're already sharing it with Steam. Like, Steam's getting a day one, too.
Right,
so,
yeah, okay.
I mean, it's not really
exclusive.
exclusive.
Console exclusive, I guess. You know what I mean? Is kind of the term or phrase
Yeah.
we should be using, because there's very few, even from PlayStation now, there's very few things that are just PlayStation exclusive. I guess the term is console exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, I think... I watched a lot of interviews and stuff with Todd Howard over the past day.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get caught up in Starfield. And before I started doing any of that, before I started looking into the gameplay and stuff like that, it was a huge nothing burger for me, like even as an Xbox person.
I think I'm stoked for it. I think it looks great. I'm not getting it day one. I'm waiting for it to go on sale, of course.
It was just, it was kind of, it almost looked like a bit bland or whatever. Like there wasn't so much, it looked like they made space boring, is what it looked like to me.
Wow. And that's a pretty hard feat to achieve.
Yeah.
Space is pretty exciting.
They made it like super real and super boring. But when I actually started to dig down into it and look more at the gameplay and stuff like that, I was like, maybe this is like, this is a personal sleeper hit for me. Like maybe I'll turn it on.
It's got other elements I didn't even realize. It's got base building and stuff too.
Yeah,
doesn't
base
it?
building.
I mean,
and
it's
like
hitting a lot of my keynotes, and I was already stoked for it when I just saw the setting. I love space stuff, so
yeah,
it seems like good. So yeah, I guess Starfield potentially making a big leap onto announcing. I mean, it'd be a good one. If it is a hit, it'd be a great achievement for Xbox to go in to purchase. To own Bethesda, and then for them to come out with this absolute hitter would be a great win for them.
Steam actually just updated their release date, quote unquote, on the store page to coming soon instead of like Q3 or Q4 or whatever it would say.
Because it said the first half of 2023. Yeah.
I'd say around summer, I'd guess. I think so. Whatever about whether this like is a big savior for Xbox, it could still be. I think it'll be whatever it is. I think it'll be great by Bethesda. I think they all seem very proud of the game.
Yeah,
there, and they've put a lot into it, and it's very ambitious. So. Yeah, I really hope, like with everything that comes out in games, I hope it's great. Like, I hope the best.
My biggest issue is it's another game I wanted to be multiplayer, but
not at all.
Another single player game. Yeah. I don't want to be alone in space. I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah,
the solitary.
Because it does. It has that aspect that would be amazing as like an MMO.
Yeah.
RPG, the soft around space, potentially. So that's it, guys. That's kind of the news that we covered. For our listeners, if there's any kind of news, big news headline, like listen, there were plenty of things we could have talked about. PlayStation VR 2 announced its like the day one lineup that it'll have on the console. Microsoft and the Activision acquisition is still a big thing, but I think that's one that's a bit meaty. I didn't want to put this in here with the rest because that's something you could get pretty hard into. If there's something that you think that we missed that was definitely worth talking about, let us know at the giftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. And if like that, do you agree with Factorio increasing its prices? Should Stadia have died? Does Cyberpunk deserve a Labor of Love award? Is Halo dead with 343 Industries? And is Starfield going to be good? Let us know at the giftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Chris, Luke, guys, thanks a mil for hopping on to our very first news episode. If you guys like news, I like news about games. I don't like normal news. Normal news is bad news, but gaming news is sometimes fun. But if you like the news, you can expect us back here again at the end of February to give you an update of everything that happened in February.
Yeah.
Guys,
well, maybe not everything. It's
our
a few topics.
3 to 4 things.
Yeah, 3 to 4 things that happened in February that we enjoyed. You'll get to listen to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Luke,
Speaking
Chris,
of promises that we won't deliver on.
yeah, I should stop saying these, shouldn't I? I'm burying us already. Guys, thanks a lot for hopping on for this. Appreciate it. And until next time, peace out, guys, and enjoy your games.
See you.